Hey everyone! Got a brand new motion transfer workflow for you today. I'd say this is pretty much the best in class for this type of thing right now. It fixes a lot of the problems you typically run into, and it's not just for motion transfer either. Before we dive in, let me show you some examples.
One, two, three.
Pretty impressive, right? If you've used motion transfer workflows before, you know the biggest limitation has always been body proportions. The subject basically had to match realistic human proportions, or you'd get serious distortion. So chibi characters, animals, figurines, kids, none of those worked properly. And multi-person setups were off the table too. But this workflow handles all of that, plus it keeps character consistency solid. Let me walk you through how to use it. I've uploaded this workflow to Running Hub. Links in the comments if you want to try it out. Use my referral link to sign up and they'll throw in 1,000 free coins. That's enough for hundreds of AI images. Plus you get 100 coins daily. If you prefer local comfy UI, you can grab the workflow through the same link. But fair warning, this workflow is extremely demanding. Even with a RTX 5090, it's gonna struggle. I'd honestly recommend sticking with Running Hub for this one. First part of the workflow is setting the output video resolution. Width and height go here. I'd recommend just sticking with the defaults. If you prefer landscape format though, feel free to adjust to whatever you need. This node controls the Uni 3C model loading. What it does is preserve the camera movement from your reference video. Some videos don't have a locked-off camera. The shot might drift or pan around. If you want that same camera motion in your final output, set this group's toggle to yes. Otherwise, go with no. These next two nodes are crucial. If your reference image and video aren't single person, you need to set these to yes and true respectively. That's the only way to get multi-person motion transfer working. Otherwise, the workflow only picks up the person on the far left, and that's definitely not what you want. Make sure you get this right. Next up, in this node group, we upload our source image. Oh, almost forgot this workflow also handles half-body portraits for motion transfer. That wasn't possible before, but it works now. Here we upload the motion reference video. Keep it short, longer clips mean way longer processing times. In this node group, the workflow pulls the video's basic properties: frame rate, duration, resolution, total frame count. Your final output will match these values. I wouldn't mess with these parameters either, just stick with my settings. Next up is the result preview node. Nothing much to explain there. Once you've got all those nodes figured out, you're good to go with this workflow. Now let's talk about the model setup. First, we run face detection to capture the expressions from the reference video. That way we can transfer those facial expressions over too. We're using the Vite pose model here. One thing, if it's a multi-person setup, it only picks up the expressions from the person on the far left. Can't do multiple faces yet. But with how fast AI is moving, I'm sure that's coming soon. Then in the node below, we load the SD pose model. This is the core model for motion detection. Now here are two critical node groups. They use the SD pose model to detect and render the pose from both the reference video and the source image. Looking at the node parameters, you can see the BodyRatioMapper SD pose render breaks down the motion in serious detail. One thing to note, the draw face parameter. I'd turn this on if your reference video has complex movements where the face turns away from the camera. Otherwise, leave it off by default. The nodes down here are for multi-person pose detection. They're currently bypassed. We already covered how to use these toggles at the beginning, so I won't go over that again. Next up are the BodyRatioMapper proportion transfer node and the BodyRatioMapper SD pose render node. These are the core of getting that perfect motion transfer earlier. The SD pose model detected the movement from the video and generated a sequence of pose frames. At the same time, the node's internal algorithm creates anchor frames. These anchors align the motion to your source character and generate a preview of the final pose. There's also a draw face parameter here. Same deal as the one I mentioned earlier, just keep them matching. The next 3 nodes show pose previews from left to right. The original figurine pose, the reference video's motion pose, my computer froze here for a sec, and then the aligned character pose. This next group loads the Uni 3C model, parses the camera movement from the original video, and applies that motion to the final output. Just know what it does. You can disable this group if you don't need it. Now for the model section. We're running Wan2.2 Animate here. Comfy UI veterans should know this one well, and there's tons of tutorials on the basic workflow online, so I won't get into that. It used to be mostly for style transfer, but pairing it with motion transfer opens up a lot more possibilities. That's for you to explore. That's the fun of working with AI. Now for the sampler section, this follows the basic Wan2.2 Animate sampler setup. One thing, you can leave the prompt blank by default. If you're doing more than just motion transfer and have some specific needs, you can add prompts for extra control. Keep steps at 8 and scheduler on Euler. During the final video decode, if your video is too large or too long, you might run into out-of-memory issues. In that case, just turn on Enable VAE tiling and set it to yes. That's the full workflow. It's a bit complex, but for most users, knowing how to run it is enough. Feel free to experiment with it if you're interested. Links in the comments. Alright, that's it for today. I'll keep dropping more practical and fun workflows, so hit subscribe if this helped you out. Really appreciate it.